Hello, welcome back to the channel. Today, I invited my friend around to teach him how to play the Final Fantasy TCG. I really thought he'd enjoy it because he's played a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh! And a little bit of Magic, and he doesn't have anybody to play with, so I thought maybe you'd want to learn this one, and it's a little bit cheaper to get into than either of those. So today, we show him how to play, so we'll start by discussing the basic rules, and mechanics of the game. Then we'll be playing a game with our hands revealed. So it'll be a tutorial game. So within that game, be discussing different lines of play, different resource, how to manage your resources as far as pitching backups or pitching cards, playing backups. Hopefully this helps somebody else who wants to pick up the game as well. And if you have any questions, you can always ask me in the comments, and can discuss that. Apologies in advance for some audio issues. My friend's not used to being on camera, not used to speaking up, so sometimes the mic didn't pick up his voice. And I'll pop back in here and try and fill in any gaps of things that we were discussing. All right, appreciate you joining me today. Enjoy the video. Basic overview. There's 7 different elements in Final Fantasy. Got lightning, wind, water, earth, ice, and fire. And you've got dark and light. And then there's 4 different card types. There's backups. Backups played on your back line, and they can produce CP or mana. They produce 1 CP of their color when they're tapped on your back line. Forwards, they're the ones that attack and do the damage. So
there's a backup line and there's a
backup line and a forward line, and then you've got monsters. Monsters are
either back.
No, they are monsters, and sometimes they will have abilities that allow them to become forward. Sometimes they're just monsters. They just are there. They go on your forward. They go to the side of your forward line. So you'll have.
Do you have a map?
Right here. So it's just field. You have backups, forwards. Your backups are in your back line, and your monsters and your forwards are all in your. You just don't want to mix them, so you want to keep your monsters off to the side. Monsters, forwards, backups, and summons. So summons are like bring it to what you have when Yu-Gi-Oh! It's spell speed 2. They're spells, but they're spells that can be played they're spells that can be played on yours or your opponent's turn. So things, backups, forwards, and monsters are all characters. That will make a difference with some things, because some things will say break a character, break a monster, a forward, backup, or it says like get rid of all characters, whatever. These are characters, these are not.
Are that determined?
Yes. Wind.
Lightning is.
No, that's earth. Lightning is
purple. Water, wind, and then light, dark.
Well, there's ice as well. My friend's colorblind, and he couldn't tell the difference between the ice and the water colors. The way to do it is.
Oh, okay. So, of ice.
They have a water symbol, water drop.
Where's the?
This is dark. This is light. Yeah. So, then you also have multi-elements here. This is the biggest multi-element right now. This is got 4 different colors. So this one is, well, one of the big things Okay, so this one is hard. Like, multi-elements are harder to play, so they're more powerful. This is one of the big meta cards right now. It's one of the deck that won the last tournament. Very hard to play, but you get a big upside if you can play it. So you have to play it with. You have to have only be played with backups. So like, there's two ways to produce mana in the game. You could take and could discard that one, and you gain 2 CP. You gain 2 mana of that color. You gain 2 fire. Or if you have it played in your back line, you can tap it and it produces 1 fire.
Technically, say I wanted to get 2 fire mana.
Just lay them down, Beck. Lay them down, so
okay.
we can.
Say there's.
And you wanted, well, let's say you wanted to play Cloud or something.
I want to play him. I need to have 6.
You got to do 6 mana total. So like
fire or light.
No, this is wind, lightning.
Sorry. Yeah.
So it's not okay. So let's start with like Man in Black. Man in Black, you have to pay 5. So there's a couple ways you can do that. You can overpay. So if I wanted to overpay, I could get rid of these 3, but it must include one of the cards I get rid of. One of the must include lightning. Summon him. So if you looked at Cloud, and I was doing it, one of the I must pay it with at least 1 lightning, and I must play with at least 1 wind.
Okay. So if I do
these 2, well, you'd have, yeah. So like he costs 6, so you'd have to produce.
Oh yeah, that's.
No. No matter what, it only produces 2. This is the cost.
Oh.
But when you discard something, it produces 2 of the color.
If you tap it, only.
Correct.
And tap it
has to be on the.
No matter what, all discards, no matter how you own.
Correct.
Okay.
So the reason why like this is such a big deal, if you have a multi-element like this one here,
yes.
This
have one of each.
Well, it can only produce 2 CP, and they can only be, but it can produce 2 CP. Only produce 1 element when you discard it. But if I discarded this, I can produce 2 fire, 2 wind, 2 earth, or 2 water. So this is fixing essentially.
So hypothetically.
No, so he has a specific thing where he has to be paid with only backups.
Oh, okay.
So he has to be paid with only backups. But I'm just saying, like, if he's in your hand and you were trying to play this one here and nothing else, you could throw this and play that because you can make 2 fire. You could actually play all but your lightning off of him. Off of discarding him. Yes. The light and dark cards do not discard for. They do not have a discard value, so they can be paid with any element. You can pay them with any element. You have to have enough mana for it. You have to have enough for it. They can be paid with any color. So if you wanted to cast Tidus, you could throw both of those. It doesn't matter. You can throw any.
Where's the discard in mine?
Okay, so if we look here, so you can choose kind of how you want to do it, but essentially you have a deck, break zone, which is where you discard 2.
Deck.
Yeah, so if you're looking at here, you have deck, you have your break zone, which is where all discards go to, and any cards that are broken, or any things that say go to break zone, or anything that dies due to damage, anything like that goes into there.
If it goes into here,
no, you have to discard it from your hand specifically for yes. So look here. So you got your deck, you've got your break zone. That's where you put your broken and discarded cards, and then the point of the game is to get your opponent to 7 points of damage. Point of damage is dealt when you attack your opponent, if you get through attack that gets through, immediately deals a point of damage, no matter how big your creatures are. So like if you look here, this creature here, this character here, this forward has 9,000 power. This one has 8,000. So if these two attacked, they would resolve damages, and this would have 8,000 damage on it, and this one would have 9,000, and this would get broken. Nothing. Nothing. It doesn't go through. So
the only way that you get hit,
or if you let damage go through.
Damage go through. Just let that.
No. So like letting damage go through means I choose not to block.
Oh, you choose not to block.
Yes. So it's kind of like Magic the Gathering, where you attack with a creature, and then your opponent can declare blockers, but you can only block. And some of the other things. Yeah. So I attack with this, and let's say I have this here, and I wanted to block. I would block. This would get broken. This does not deal damage unless I choose to let it go through. Then I take a point of damage. Once you get 7 points of damage, you take the top card of your deck, damage zone. And this could make a difference because you do have things like
damage zone. Orientation.
Choose to have it however you want, but you can choose to have it opposite your, you just have it opposite your deck, on the opposite side of your deck. So my deck is here, my break zone, my damage zone is here. If my deck is here, is here. Doesn't matter. Obviously there's a mat. I'll give you this mat as well. But the reason that makes a difference, if let's say you had something like, you'll see that this one has an ability called an EX. The ones with the EX on top, this one has EX on top. When EX cards go into damage, they have an ability that goes off. So like this one here, Odin, on his EX burst, you choose one forward of cost 5 or less. It's immediate, and you cannot respond to it. So literally it goes there. This goes off. So let's say like you had these out somehow. Yeah. And you attacked with that, and you put this one in damage. I immediately choose one forward of cost 5 or less, break it, have no response. It happens.
It breaks.
Yep. Okay. So there's no, these things happen and there's no response to them. You cannot respond to it all. So that's how, like, essentially that's how damage works. And then when the first person gets 7, that person loses. Yeah, you have to have a forward to block it.
Unless you choose.
Yeah, there are many cases where you'll take damage trying to set something up, like you need that forward to do something. So one of the big things is when you're playing, only have, like, there's going to be multiple clouds. There's so many different versions of clouds. But on the field at one time, you have one version of that card, or one character named Cloud. So let's say you had a deck that for some reason you had 3 different versions of Cloud. Have one card named Cloud on your field. Okay. Your opponent can have one. You can have one, but you can't have, unless, like this samurai here, it's called the generic symbol. The generic symbol means that you can have, it's a generic name. You can have multiple of the same name. So if I had no, you can have the same samurai.
Oh, okay.
So anything with the generic symbol can have multiple at one time. So like this I can have 3 of this one at one time. And so yeah, I can have 3 blue worms. I can have 6 samurais if my deck was all samurai. There's a deck that's a lot of samurais. I could have 6 of these. Now, with you'll see down here, you'll see the card, you see the 17 dash whatever at the bottom there. That is the card number. You can only have 3 of the same card number at most in your deck. 50 card deck. So the phases work. It starts with activate phase, which is your untap, and then you draw. So Final Fantasy, the player who starts. So you things like normal. Cut the deck. You're gonna deck. We're just gonna do a basic. We're gonna do a walkthrough. So you roll to see who goes first. That's an 8. You have a 9. So you ideally want to go first. So you start by drawing 5 cards. Yeah, I'm gonna essentially have it. So
how many cards?
Okay, so you start by drawing 5 cards.
Right here, since it's for the.
So we've drawn 5 cards. Now what we're looking for, like in our draw, we're looking for backups that let us do something. Like, so this backup does let us do something, but this is not a great hand. You've got 3 pieces of how this deck works, but you don't have the part that's needed. So the mulligan rule is you get to take 1 mulligan. 1 mulligan is you take 5 cards, put them to the bottom, and then you draw them, and then just draw the top 5 cards. On like 9 over here, not going to be good. But yours is get a bad. So player going first starts by first turn you draw 1 card.
Even if you're the first.
If you're the first person, draw 2 cards. Only draw 1 card for the very first player on the very first turn. You draw 1 card.
Average you.
Normally, well, every other turn you draw 2. No, every turn after the first person goes. Okay. So like I will draw 2. It's just the very first person only draws 1 card. You have a backup, and so you have a couple of backups.
Only 2.
Well, yeah, you have a couple of backups. So ideally, some of the things that you might want to start with in this deck. So keywords: haste. It means it can attack or use its action ability the first turn. So it here has an action ability, but she can't use it until she has to start on. She has to be on your field at the start of your turn.
Yeah.
So
the answers if character activate. That's this effect here.
I mean, ideally, the way that I would start this turn with this deck. Now you have to decide what you want to play. Ideally, you want to get at least one backup out. We need to discard something to play Uke. We have to pay for this. Yes. So we have to pay for it. So we're gonna toss one of these here, one of these summons here, into the break zone, and play Uke onto the field.
In the break zone.
Doesn't matter. It's face up. Face up, and then anytime a backup comes in, it comes in dulled. It comes in, or sideways. And the other. Okay, no, go ask a question.
I place it back.
So that you can't use it this turn.
Am I able to back up?
You can summon you can do as many things as you want. What I would suggest is throwing this one, playing Sendy. You have 2 lightning, and then you play Sendy, and so that was your main phase. Right now we really can't do anything else. That's your main phase 1. now we go to your attack phase. Your attack phase, you at this point you would cast any summons you want to do to like move stuff out of the way. What we're gonna do is you're gonna attack me with Cindy. Cindy has haste and she can attack first. And in order to attack, you have to turn unless she has brave.
Yeah, but she has haste. But what is this? Damage or less? And
So we'll not be doing that now. But let's say I have something big on the board,
yeah.
or it's something that when it attacks or does something, so let's say I had this one right here on the board. So this one here has an ability when it attacks, I get to steal a card from the top of your deck, and I can play. So let's say you wanted to shut that off, or you didn't want to be, I didn't want to be attacked by something, or like just shut off an ability. I could then do that on their turn, dole Cindy, and dole that card so they can't attack you. But right now, there's no reason. Right now, you're just turning it sideways, and then
attack.
I take 1 damage. So at the top of my deck, I turn a card over, and I put it into my damage zone. 1 damage, no EX burst. Okay, and then at that point, you go to main phase 2. And in phase, any damage on your characters.
Am I able to, based on what?
The only time you can play anything, okay, you can only play forwards and backups in main phase 1 or 2 unless they have back attack. And then nothing can be played in active, draw, in phase. Nothing can be played in any of those phases.
Or in main phase.
Huh?
Okay. After I attack you, this. On anybody.
If you want to, but I wouldn't suggest. Thane has a very powerful effect. Essentially, when he comes into play, you get to steal the top card of my deck, and you can cast it. And whenever you normally can cast it without having to pay it, or don't even have to be the same. It's a very powerful effect, but right now, let's just you want to keep that in your hand. Then we go to my turn. On my turn, I then draw cards, drawing up to 7 cards. Then, I should tell you, at the end of any of your turns, if you have more than 5 cards, you have to discard. Alright, so looking over here at mine, I don't have the piece that I need to my deck, but Jota here lets me get it. So like when I play Jota, she lets me get a card named Fran. So that's okay. So you never attack a specific character.
You're only attacking.
You attack the person and how they want to block.
And I can't block because
there are ways to interact with characters. Like this one here. Choose 1 forward of cost 5 or more. Break it. Choose 1 monster. Break it. So I'm gonna play this. So I would discard a Jota because I already have a Jota and I can't have 2 of them. And I would discard a card named Emperor. That's gonna produce 2 wind, 2 earth. So as long as I've paid some earth, my hand over. So as long as I paid some wind, I can play Jota. I have to pay with at least 1 CP of wind. So then Jota comes in and I can search my deck 1 card Fran. That's literally search for a card named Fran. Deal it to your opponent to show that what you've searched. That's lets me play stuff free. Brave means brave means that they don't have to tap, like Vigilance and Magic the Gathering. That means so if I go to No,
Yeah.
they don't attack first. It means just vigilance. I just say declare attack and they don't dull.
But it can
It can mean
not dull at the end of your.
so
I would have.
if a
You can
card
use it as a
if a
forward.
card is like this, it can't block. If it's like this, it can block. Or so this goes to my hand. Shuffle, shuffle. A lot of this in Final. A lot of where you can search for a card,
Yeah.
or that's one of the big things is search for specific. So my hand here now.
Forward.
So right now I can't really. I can play Fran. I can't play Fran because I can't produce Earth. So this. So what I'm gonna do.
Cards on the.
This is on the field tapped. So next turn I'll be able to. Next turn once it activates, I'll be able to produce. But I'm going to card that one to play gain 2 wind. And I'll play this class 8th Moogle. The class 8th Moogle, if it's on the field, can produce wind, which is what its color is, or it can produce. So it can, all backups come in dull. And alright, so
Right now you don't have.
mana does not carry over. So once you cast a card, the mana is gone. So if you overpay, so let's say I had this Fran and I could produce, and I could do Earth, and I paid, and I discarded 2 cards. That one extra just disappears into ether. It doesn't get saved. It's not like Magic the Gathering where you can save, where you can put mana. It doesn't get saved. You produce it, you play a card with it. That's it, and it's gone immediately. I paid 4 for Fran. That one extra, gone. So I've played my 2 backups. I'm going to say that's my turn. Now at the start of your turn, start by activating all your characters. And you draw 2 cards. So you've drawn 2 backups. So like this one here is meant to work with this one, and because it's when forced on play, it costs 4 to play it. But when she comes into play, she lets you go get another card. So it essentially costs 2. That's the benefit of it, is it lets you go and tutor for a card, and it takes the cost down to 2. This one here, what would be interesting, this one here, is if you so this one here, if you have a forward in your break zone that's cost 2 or less, those are not forwards, those are summons. This is a forward, it costs 2 or less. So one of the things, look at, like, he doesn't reactivate. What you could do is you could discard Zidane, produce 2 wind, tap your Uke, play the Reeve, and then you take your Zidane comes onto the field from the break zone. But so right now, this can produce the main thing. Yep.
So card this produce.
And then you dull that, and then you can play Reeve onto the field.
So I have mana.
That costs 3. So that's a backup. Backup that comes in dull, but it has an ability. So
when you have word with cost break zone.
So Reeve does not reactivate again. Reeve stays tapped.
This can come out.
This comes
dulled
in.
Or
no, it comes active. So when that comes in, I have to take the top card of my deck, and you can play this. You can play this using not have to pay its cost with. You have to pay its cost, but you do not have to pay its cost in the color. So that card, anytime you can, like now this card, at any time you can pay 2, and you can get any character or any forward or backup. So you if let's say this goes back in there, it gets killed and goes in there.
Yeah.
You can pay 2 of any color because of his ability, and get character back to your hand.
His effect, I take your top card.
Yes.
I have a choice to summon this. I have a mana
No,
right now.
right. Well, you don't have to do it now. This is removed from the game, so I cannot interact with this. The only person,
only I can.
only you can interact with this.
Through this card or through this.
This is the ability of this card, and it puts that ability. So even if this card goes away, you can still cast this.
Out of the game.
Well, yeah, yeah. So like,
okay.
Just know that this is
a card that's accessible
to you. So this is separate. It's removed from the game. For me, I can't touch it.
Why would I not?
Because you have nothing there. You have to get a forward or backup back. You have no forward or backup in your.
Give up a forward.
No, you don't have to give. No, I'm saying this card gets you a forward or backup in your break zone. Return to your hand.
But yes. If I say I did mana for this,
you could discard this and immediately get it back to your hand. You want to save this. This is really good for getting something that's very powerful back to your hand.
Okay.
Okay, so let's say that is the end of your. Like, Zidane does have a powerful ability down here as another one. If you've cast 3, cast means you have to pay the cost for it. Okay. You've only cast one thing. You've cast Reeve, so he does not have haste. So Zidane doesn't have haste. But right now, if we go to it,
I dulled this one.
Pay for Reeve. You paid. You paid 3.
I remember.
So now, I would go to attack phase, and you would attack me with Cindy. Since I have no backup, I have nothing. I have no forwards. I can't block you. Attack me with Cindy. And you have to dull Cindy because she doesn't have Brave. Then I take the top card of my deck. Damage. Now I'm at 2 damage.
Why would I not attack?
Can't attack with his. Zane doesn't have haste.
Okay.
He has haste. Additionally, he doesn't have haste.
But
so like next turn, if I have nothing out, you should attack with Zidane, and you get another card.
Alright, so only characters with haste
attack
first under summon they.
Yeah, they're just there. They can block. But alright, and then there's nothing else that you can really do. Like, so next turn we'll start casting these. But right now you've got 2 forwards, so you've got a threat on the board.
Yeah.
So main phase 2 nothing, end phase nothing. So go to my, and I draw my 2 cards. So the deck here is built around. This deck is essentially built around this card. This card lets me play any 12 characters of cost 4 or less, which all 3 of these are 12 characters of less. It lets me play all of those for. Lets me play one of those for free. The first time it enters, it lets me play one for free, and then if I attack with it, same as the way Zidane is, where if you attack with it, if I attack with Fran, I can then play a 12 character for free.
You have to get Fran onto the.
I have to get Fran on the field, so I'd have to pay for it.
All of these.
Or, well, no. See, since she only costs 3,
1.
I just have to dog 1. So I'm gonna. This one can produce Earth CP, which Fran requires.
How is this one?
It's its ability. So he's producing Earth CP because he can produce Earth CP based upon his ability. So he can produce either Earth or Wind. Yeah, you can dull him to produce either Earth or Wind. So then I will take, and I will discard this Fran to produce, or this Vayne, produce 2 Wind. So that's now 1 Earth and 2 Wind. Play Fran onto the field. Then when Fran enters the field, I may play 1 category 12 character of cost 4 or less from my hand out of the field. I will play Philo. I don't have to pay anything, but it's not. She comes in. She has no. She's dulled,
okay.
so I can't produce any mana with her or anything. So she comes in dull. Now her ability is kind of like this one. Any of the job sky pirates. Here you'll see this is a job engineer. This is a job Shinra executive, whatever. Any job sky pirates, which is what Fran is, Milo is. The backups can produce either wind or water. Now I can produce
Based on this,
this effect. So now this card can produce wind.
but it's dulled.
Yes,
So.
I can't do anything with it now. This card can produce wind. This card, when it's dulled, can produce either wind or earth. And this one produces either wind or water. So
does this character have?
Character does not have haste.
Can't attack.
I cannot attack with it. This character will stay here. Now this character is bigger than either of your characters. So I will.
But I have a question. Hypothetically, this card was on. I could attack with this, it would lose 4,000.
You would not attack with this. We're gonna do this right now. Okay, so we're gonna go to the start of your turn.
Okay.
Activate your cards first, but not Reeve. Activate the two activated because Reeve, while Zidane's on the field, Reeve stays dulled. Now draw your 2 cards. Oh, that's a no. It's a proxy. I'm waiting to no. That's in your hand.
What?
It's in your hand. It's a proxy, which means it's I'll show you. It's a proxy for a card. That is card. This is the card that you have in your hand.
Okay.
So it's a dark card, so this can't be discarded for any mana. That's just be aware that that can't be discarded for any mana. But so it's a very powerful effect, but until either player has received 4 points of damage, he cannot be played. So he currently cannot be played. But his effect is when he enters the field, you choose one character. That would be any forward, backup, or monster, and break it. No, summons, no. But summons don't stay on the field.
Yeah.
Anything that stays on the field is a character.
Summons appear for that.
Summons get cast and immediately go to the.
Okay.
So he's a forward. So right now we can't do anything with him until you either get me to 4.
I get to.
Or you get to 4 damage. So the way that I would look at doing this turn for you. Okay, so this one here, if you pay this can be played at any time on your turn, or it can be played on the stack on my turn. But the pay 2, you break all forwards of cost 2 or less. You don't want to do that. That's what you have. If you pay the extra cost, which is an extra 3, so you pay 5 total. So you pay 2 to cast it, and then once it comes in, you pay 3. It would break all forwards of cost 3 or less. That would kill my Fran, but it would kill your stuff. This right now is not doing anything for you, but something what I would look at is this is a very powerful card. This card here lets you grab any one of your. It lets you protect one of. So let's say somebody's trying to kill. Say I have something to kill your Zidane. You can get that Zidane back, and then you can replay it. Same turn or next turn. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna get that Althea online. We're gonna pitch or Stalin and dull the Uke. The Althea. Now, Althea comes in dull, but now, so you can take and choose one character other than Althea, activate it. What I would suggest activating is doesn't activate on your turn. Activate it now, though. This is a misplay. The correct line here would have been to target Cindy with Althea, and then on the stack, to dull Cindy, to dull Fran, taking a point of damage. And then that way, on the opponent's turn, Cindy is available then to dull Fran and to prevent her from attacking and to get that value. Now, his own effect keeps it. It cannot activate active phase, but it can activate due to an ability. So right now you have Reeve active. I'm not going to use that right now. So and now want to now what we're going to do is we're going to go to attacks, and then what you would want to do is so Cindy. This is where Cindy's ability comes in. So because my Fran is more powerful, like Zidane has a very powerful effect if you can attack. So now you attack and you get to steal something, right? Essentially get to steal something and you keep me away from it and you can steal something powerful from me. But Zidane can't get through Fran. So you can attack and you can steal something, but Zidane's gonna die. But what you can do is you can choose to take a point of damage for yourself. You would dull Cindy, and you would choose Fran, and you would dull Fran. So now I can no longer block with Fran. You have to take a point of damage, and then that's an EX burst. So now you get to choose one forward of cost 5 or less. You actually just took a damage, and you get to kill my Fran. Yeah, that's the only thing that you can break right now because it says forward. Yeah. You just killed my Fran. You just not only did you just so we thought we were just going to push it out the way. Yeah. But you took a point of damage, got an EX burst, killed it. Now you can attack with Zidane. So you gotta yeah. Now first things first, he attacks, get a card. So you can play that.
These cards are played.
They're out of the game. I can't touch them, but you can play them. No, this is a forward. So okay, so there's a couple of things. There's that warp is the card goes to you could actually you cannot cast the warp because it has to be played from your hand. So she costs 5 unless she's in your hand. Warp is an ability in your hand where you could pay green and 1. So let's say this card was in my hand here. I could pay a green and 1, goes removed from the game, and she gets triggers at the beginning of main phase 1. A trigger gets removed. It reaches 0. Card comes into play. So that lets you take. There's some things to do with. There's some shenanigans with this deck with it. Bane, when he comes in, lets me take a warp counter off. So I can get this out quicker. It also draws cards and stuff. So shenanigans and stuff. So but essentially those 2 cards you can play at any time. And then now I have to take the damage. So no EX burst. I take up to my 3rd point of damage. Right now there's nothing else that nothing that you want to play.
Go to main phase 2. I can't solve this for anything.
You want to leave this active. This will let you, because once he's dulled again, he will not activate again. Well, that's only when that comes in. Okay. So right now we're going to leave this active until you want to pay for something more. Now you go to your end phase and then pass the turn to me. I have nothing I can do. Now I activate my 2 cards.
Can't I use Reeve?
No.
I have to wait until you get 1.
Yes, he cannot be played because of he has not received 4 damage. Or I have not received 4 damage. So once you deal 1 more damage to me, or if you take 4 damage yourself, that's why Cindy's here. Cindy's here to things out the way, and she's also here to self-damage to get him on. Alright, so okay, so now we go to my turn. I no longer have Fran, which was my big powerful thing. But I did draw something that can kill the entire board. So I can only cast this one during my turn, and I'm going to cast. Doling all those and discarding 1 more. So I have to make 5 CP. 1, 2, 3. Then I'm going to discard a. Can't produce. Discard Bosch. and I deal 5,000 to all of your forwards. Both of those two get broken. So there. That goes into my break zone. Go to attack phase. I have nothing. Main phase 2. Play anything. So activate those two. And then so now, just so you know, since the name is no longer there, Grieve will activate during your turns. Now you can freely use. So you just drew what this deck, or sort of what this deck. That this is essentially creates a board wipe. So you know the summons that you had put over here.
Yeah.
If you read, who? Okay, so the powerful effect with that, which is not great right now, but it would get haste. Look at these two. Put in there. Choose up to 2 forwards. Deal them 1,000 damage. Kill 2 if he's on the board. This one here can be even more powerful. And let's say I had like 4. You cast this as we went into attack phase, but where everything on mine is active. You cast this for only cost 1. Deal 2,000 damage to all the active forwards opponent controls. So as long as he's on the board, any damage kills a character, kills a forward, and you get to draw a card. So that's what the deck is kind of built around.
Ideally, before any of that. Is there any effect here?
So right now, there's nothing here that you want to use. Nothing here. So some of the options here is you could, for 5, you could dull all 3 of these, and either pitch the Ixion because I don't think you need it, or one that you might want to pitch because you're playing one, be the remove. So, and then
one of these.
This will let you get back any character, any forward or backup. So you get any of these 3 cards
if I
back to your hand. If you chose to play him, you would have to go either pitch something from hand. You can pay with any CP. So you can pay with this Ixion, which you're not using.
Yeah. And
get one of these back if you wanted. So if you wanted to, you would pitch the Ixion, play the Kusith. I'm just running through. So you could pitch the Ixion, play the Kusith, grabbing back Zidane, or grabbing back Cindy. That's up to you. Cindy is 100% the right card to grab here. The haste and Cindy's ability does matter here, and so grabbing Cindy is the correct move. Or the other option, like I said, what you could.
I do. So Cindy and remove.
You could do them both in the same turn. Yes.
Okay,
so if you got rid of your Ixion, you could play Kusith.
My breaks.
No, it goes back to my break zone.
Okay,
it goes back to my break zone.
Wait, no, that was mine. This card.
Oh yeah, yeah. So that one, when you cast that goes to my break zone.
Summon.
Yes, and you can play that. You can play that anytime. So you can play characters, cast summons. So that you're doing this during your turn. So you're gonna grab.
Okay, so I do this and I activate it. 1 forward or backup in my.
Wait, actually, can you do? Hold on a second. I'm trying to. I don't think you can do all this turn. Okay, hold on a second. I don't think you because. No, because you can't discard him for. Discard him for mana. Yes, but you need him to play him. So if you wanted to play Cindy right now, you could. Or
but all this just goes to my hand though.
Goes to this effect. It goes to your hand.
Summon goes away at the end of.
No, it goes away right now. So So if you wanted to, there's a couple of options you have. You could
Tap all these.
use 5. You get to play that one. The better play here would have been to play the Sendy, dealing attacking, dealing 1 point of damage for the 4th point of damage, and then playing the Sephiroth and breaking the class 8th Moogle, which is the only source of Earth CP, and so that way it locks out the Earth CP, so they can no longer cast Fran, can't cast Mist Dragon, or any of those powerful Earth cards. Now you have two lightning summons.
So it has haste.
Go to attack phase, attack me.
Nothing else I can do right now.
So nothing else you can do right now because you throw that out. You can't play that until you get 1 more damage. So if you attack me now, you'll deal the 1 damage, and now next turn you can play Sephiroth. Sephiroth is very powerful because 10,000 is super powerful. It's more powerful than this. It's more powerful than anything you. So he can block really well, and then not only that, when he comes in, he gets to destroy anything that's.
I have nothing else I can.
So yes. So,
first.
No, you don't want to Rage first.
I know. I'm just saying. I want to see.
No. So you got rid of something pretty powerful here. But that's once it's there, it's removed from the game, and you don't have to worry about it anymore. There's 1 card that lets you grab stuff back, like 1 card, like in general, that lets you grab something back.
Yeah. Now how do they go to? Nothing more I can do.
So, like, let's say if you did have a 2nd card in hand, you could have played that Sephiroth now, but we don't have that. So now we just pass the turn. And then, so now, if you do draw any of those lightning summons or anything like that, just know that this has that field ability. It is a field ability, so it's always on while he's on the field.
So, his field ability, he gets to
any damage to any forward
will automatically break.
Will automatically break it.
If
they take damage.
But does that seem for me?
No.
You attack my forward.
Yes. If I let's say that I had a deck that had lightning summons as well, I could kill your board as well with any damage.
Only lightning summons.
Lightning summons or him.
Lightning summons or him.
That deal damage.
That deal damage. Attacks it for automatically. Same thing for you because it's a field effect. You had a lightning.
If I played, if let's say I had the same one of the let's say we were playing the mirror deck and I cast something that did 7,000 damage, even though he's 9,000, he would. So go to my activate, draw. So like for me personally, got a very powerful. I want to get rid of it if I can.
Do it.
So I'm gonna pretend like you can't see my hand and say that.
Have this. Happens when I hit the wall.
So
you can destroy this.
Right now, I'm not gonna. Right now, I'm not. So this does have the ability to destroy it. That's very expensive. That costs 7.
I understand that.
I'm going to leave my mana up and available.
Wait, does mana carry over from?
As long as it only reduces when I do that. So once I dull it, so right now, as long as it's not dull, I can tap it for mana. Right now, I can.
No, see, pay like 5 mana.
No.
Some of that.
No, it does. It doesn't carry more. But right now, I have 3 mana available. I'm going to pass the turn to you with 4 cards in hand. Now you would go to your untap first. Draw your 2, and they go to hand.
Oh, yeah, I can see that I could.
So there's a couple. You have a couple options here. So if you want to, like a lot of times, you want to wait till after attacks to do certain things. But let's say right now I have nothing on the board. If you'd want to play the Sendy, you could play the Sendy. And then you would be threatening damage. Wanted to play the Sephiroth, you could play the Sephiroth, and you can get rid of one of the backups. Sephiroth would be a big blocker. Not necessarily. So, but for you, what I'd be looking at is this one needs to stay in your hand because this, as long as Ramu is on the field, this is very powerful. This kills 2 things for throwing out this Ramu. What I would suggest for you, how I would play this, would dull your 2 wind back, play your send, or not your wind, your 2 lightning backups.
Is there any effect that these?
No, okay. They just produce.
So they're just backup to.
They produce mana, so you don't have to get rid of cards in your hand. Otherwise, you have to throw one of these cards away.
Yeah, so that's 2.
Then you're gonna play the Sendy.
Play the Sendy. Okay.
The Sendy.
I know, I get that.
You could throw away. That has to be played from hand. Ignore that. But her ability is when it enters the field, you can search for any card in your deck and add it to your hand. Right now, you kind of have everything you need, because I'm at 4 damage. You only need to deal 3 more damage. So you want to play the Sendy. You want to threaten getting me to 6 damage. Okay?
No chance of me possibly getting Sephiroth on having him.
Can't win. He does not have haste. You can't win this turn.
Only 2 people have. I can still get him onto.
If you wanted to, you could still get him on the field, but kind of don't want to overly commit. So that's one of the things with any card game. You don't want to overly commit. Then you get rid of everything. So like right now, if I were you, I would threaten to attack me with these characters. And then ideally, you want to attack with whichever one's going to be the bigger target, which Ramu will be the bigger target, so you attack with him. Althea here lets you protect a character. Essentially, if there's a character with a powerful effect, or
say you were going to attack it, I can tap it.
And that would go back to your. So you do lose a backup for a short time.
But.
So we're gonna do something here, and
so we're gonna do tapped. I got Sydney out on the field. Go to.
You can go to attacks now, and ideally you want to swing your biggest threat first. So you would attack me with Ramu. So no, so you attack me with Ramu. Well, that's your damage zone.
I know. That's one I'm saying.
So okay, so we're gonna play this like we would play it. Okay. So right now, I'm going to dull these 2. I'm going to produce Earth and Wind. This character has back attack, which means on attack declaration, I can now, or any time that a stack is made, so on attack declaration, a stack is made. So I can stack this on top. I play Duke Snakeheart onto the field. Duke Snakeheart has back attack, so I can put him on the stack on your turn or whenever. But when Duke Snakeheart blocks, break Duke Snakeheart and any forwards that are blocked by Duke Snakeheart. So I've played Duke Snakeheart now. He comes in. And now we are not to block declaration. If I make this block declaration, then then both of
Sure.
these die. So what you would want to do, is ideally you throw this remove, or you throw that one, and you play this one, dealing 1,000 damage, or dealing the 1,000 damage to Duke Snake. That goes, and this gets
Instantly.
it's broken because of this field effect, and so just
But I already attacked with this card. You put that up to try to block.
yeah. So I'm gonna
This
show.
attack.
So if you look right here, so we go here, attack preparation step. You can play summons, whatever. Then I gain priority. So at this point, we've gone to the attack step. You declared attacker, and then if any triggers when blah blah blah, and then you chose not to play any summons, and then I gain priority. So I played a character with back attack, then immediately you get priority back. So once I've played something, you get priority back. You've played a summon,
On your.
and then I get priority back. And if I had something to stop that or something, I could play it at that time. And then we go to block step. So at this block step now, so that's how you would want to play it, because like right now I do have another Duke Snakeheart, but I can't play it. I don't have priority because two Duke Snakehearts can't be on the field at the same time. I have to wait for that first one to leave the field, and so I have no ability to play another one. So now I take the damage from Ramu. I can't do anything. I take the damage. This does have an EX burst, but when Elsa enters the field, if you control a Job Sky Pirate forward, other than Elsa, draw a card. I do not control a Job Sky Pirate forward. I do not get to draw a card. And then now you would want to attack with Cindy. So yeah, there were two lines that you could have taken on that. You could have played that Ramu, or if you wanted to, you could have dulled Cindy, taken a damage, and you could have just dulled the Duke Snakeheart so he couldn't block. So there were two different lines that you could have taken.
Only one.
Yes, right. One, but you would have either way, you would have protected your. So if you before block declaration, before block step, if you had at that priority goes back to you, you could then dull your Cindy, and you could have just said, I want to dull that. You would have taken your 1 damage and safe, but this would have still been on the field for next turn. So I take damage and Elsa again. So that's 6 damage, so you only have to get 1 more. Right? And then I think right now, I don't think that you don't want to do anything. You want to try to keep your stuff alive and attack me next turn. So I think you go to main phase 2 and pass the end phase. Okay. And so if I did have something like, if I wanted to, at the end of main phase 2, you pass priority to me. If I wanted to, I could play Duke Snakeheart on. I wouldn't do that because it's meant to be a surprise. But you have an answer for it. That's why you attack with that first, because you have protection. So if something were to happen to this, that's really bad, because that's your instant death for anything that's.
But this is also.
That's also protection, but it makes it come back to your hand, so it would take it out of combat.
But if I didn't have the other counter,
if you didn't have, let's say I had something to counter that, you could have then still used Cindy to protect it, or if there was nothing else and you absolutely needed this, you could take those 2 back, and then you would have them in the card for whatever. So like, let's say, I mean, in reality, you could take 2 things back. You could take Althea and Cindy back, or Althea and something back, and if you wanted to, you could card those 2 cards and you could play that Sephiroth. That's not ideal, because ideally you want to keep that Sephiroth next turn case I play something, Sephiroth can be immediately played and killed. So, going into my turn and draw cards. So, I got that Kusith, which means I can get any one of the characters here back. Too. Can't get no if I play him. But if let's say he went into damage instead of Elsa, I would have been able to grab any one of those characters back immediately. So what I have here, so I don't have anything super duper powerful. The only thing I have is one thing that can kill one. I can only kill one of your characters, or I could play get something back, try and build something up, but it's gonna. Well, no, there's no damage. Yeah, Sendy can remove one of my blocks if you want, or um, there are things that I could. So there are a couple things I could do. So I could play Kusith, and if I could play Kusith, that I could play Shadow Lord. That's going to cost me pitching two things from my doling everything out. I can only kill one thing, and you just let's pretend I don't know Sephiroth is there. It would make Sendy not be able to attack essentially because it's got a big 9,000 butt, and then this is dead. Or you could protect it with Althea, but you have to return it to your hand, and then you have a big 9,000 guy plus Sendy. You push play him. So my best play, which is not a great play, this is literally just to make me survive, is to throw Shadow Lord, pitch the Shadow Lord for 2, playing Sith, grabbing back Fran. I return Fran to my hand. Okay. I'm going to pull Jota and throw that one for Earth. Pitch a Class 8 Moogle end. I play Fran onto the field. When Fran comes onto the field, I play one category. That was Earth.
Yeah.
And 2 wins.
Yeah, I understand. But have one element, or can
you have to have at least one of each. So you could, if let's say, if I wanted to, I could play for her with wind, earth, and water. I just have to have one of each element at the minimum. So when she comes in, I get to play a category 12 character of cost 4 or less from my field. I choose to play Vaughn. Okay, so when Vaughn enters the field, I may pay wind. If I do so, I activate all the job Sky Pirate I control. Vaughn enters the field, I may pay water. When I do so, I choose one forward. Until end of turn, it loses 2,000 power for each job Sky Pirate I control. So I would like to, so I don't have to pay for this until it resolves on the stack, but I choose, I'm going to put this ability on the stack. I choose to do the second ability. So that's on the stack first. And I choose to do the first ability. They are on the stack like this. Now it's going to resolve. I have to resolve, pay for the first. First, I'm going to pay with Philo, produce wind. And then I activate all my Job Sky Pirates. That's the only Job Sky Pirate that was dull. And then the second ability goes off, and I choose to pay. It can produce water. I choose to pay water, and I choose one forward. It will lose 1,000 power for each job Sky Pirate I can. Right now, the wind ability on Vaughn does nothing because I only had one Sky Pirate gold. But I wanted to show this interaction because if I had a Balthier on the board, I could have then stacked the triggers where I declare his abilities, and then on the stack, I dole Fran, and I dole Balthier to give Fran haste. And then I dole Vaughn and Philo to give the Vaughn that just came in haste. Then paying with Jota with the wind. That'll activate all of my job Sky Pirates, and then I can still pay the water from Philo to give the minus off of Vaughn. I just wanted to show that so you could see how that interaction might work. F3. So I will choose to give Cindy minus 6,000 power, which would then break her. If her power goes to 0, if the power is ever reduced to 0, she goes to the break zone.
But I can.
If you wanted to, you could save her by doling Althea and returning both to hand if you wanted to. If you want to. So it might not be a bad idea, just because what you have to think about is now know that you have the Sephiroth in. So you're going to have 2 CP and you're drawing 2 cards. So the Althea probably won't get replayed, but you'll play the Cindy and you'll play the Sephiroth. Now, I can't do anything else. I have 1 card in my hand. I pass the turn, but I have blockers.
Yes.
Now activate. So this is not ideal for this situation. So where this is ideal for, because this is right now you're just trying to get that last point of damage. This is not good. But let's say I was at 4 and you were at 3. This lets you have control of the board, where it guarantees that as long as this is on the board at the end of the turn that it's played, at the end of your turn that it's played, or at the end of, I have to take one of my characters, and it doesn't just go to the break zone. It goes to remove if there's 20 or more characters removed. So when it comes in, characters get removed. In this situation, it would be 1, 2, 6, 7 characters on my side, and your side doesn't have anywhere near me. So that's not a character. That's not a character. Those are summons. So that really doesn't have any ability. It would be a 10. It would be 10k. That's it. It wouldn't get the second ability, which is the big ability on. So this is not what you would want to play at this point. Right now, all you're looking to do is move these out of the way in order to get 1 damage through. That's all you need to do. Because if you attack with remove right now, I block. So there's a couple lines that you can take here.
Well, anytime a lightning attacks.
No, not a lightning. That's a lightning summon. When this deals any damage,
Immediately.
Yes. Well, once the damage resolves. So let's say I had a big 10k, and this attacked and you blocked like an idiot, I would die. Or there's cards that let you fight, where essentially this card would deal damage to a card. But so the ideal line here is I want to play this Sephiroth. Really don't need this Althea anymore. I want to get rid of that Althea and that X-Staff. The Sephiroth. One of my forwards, and you break it. Fran, and goes to the break zone. Now you only have to get through one character. But now you duel your 2 backups. You play Cindy onto the field. Cindy is a bit... So as we go into attacks,
now
we go to attack phase.
Okay.
Then an attack prep step. With duel Cindy, deal yourself a point of damage. Dueling Vaughn. You duel Vaughn, and now you can attack with her. And then I take my last damage. That's it. That would be the game. So as soon as 7 damage hits, doesn't matter what card I flip. As soon as the 7th damage hits, game is over.